to another Community Connections. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jeremy Capone. I'm the wellness chef for Elixir Kitchen, and joined, as always, the amazing Daniela Fiorini. Hello, Daniela.
Hi, Jeremy. So happy to be here again, mid-March. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day.
It is, yes. And it's also Nutrition Month. And it is also Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And just a huge thank you again to Karine Legault from Colorectal Cancer Canada for her wonderful presentation, sort of sharing quite a bit in regards to some of the supports and resources offered by Colorectal Cancer Canada. So definitely check out that video that will be posted alongside these cooking demonstration videos on our YouTube channel. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Daniela.
Yes. Can't wait to try these recipes, but again, I'm going to have to make them myself, but they're easy enough. So that's great. So in celebration of Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, we're featuring recipes that are tailored to meet the nutritional needs of people living with colorectal cancer. Whether you're someone who's going through treatment or you're recovering from treatment, the gastrointestinal problems, the low appetite, the low energy can make eating well a challenge. And Jeremy, as usual, has worked his magic and has created 3 new nutritious and delicious recipes using ingredients that will not irritate your digestive system. There's a creamy silken tofu dip, comforting egg and rice soup, and peanut butter pumpkin pancakes. Jeremy loves alliteration as much as I do, so I know he did that one for me. So let's get started with this first recipe, creamy silken tofu herb dip. So this delectable dip is soft, creamy, and packed with protein and several health protective compounds that will boost healing as you recover from treatment and also boost your immunity. It's low in fiber, so it's easy on your tummy, but it's definitely not low in taste. The nutritional yeast used in this recipe gives you a good dose of vitamin B12, and it adds that amazing umami flavor. You know, umami is Jeremy's favorite. And if you pair it with, saltines or breadsticks, it makes a lovely little snack that you can have midday, evening, mid-morning, can take the edge off of hunger, can also settle an angry stomach. Anyway, enough of me. We need to get back into the kitchen.
Thank you, Daniela. Okay, so we're going to make this really nice silken tofu dip. It's really sort of our take on like a hummus dip as a snack. I think, that's a go-to for a lot of people for a quick and nutritious little snack. And so we wanted to do a variation, obviously, without the chickpeas, without the beans. And this is a really, really nice sort of satisfying dip. That silken tofu is going to give us this really nice creamy body for the dip. And almost similar to like a ranch dip in terms of like the flavor profile, because we definitely don't want to skimp on the flavor. We want to make sure that the flavor is there. And so I'm going to show you a few ways in which we can really punch up that umami, like Daniela mentioned earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to blend everything in the small little jar with a hand blender. If you're using a regular blender, stand blender, you can just add everything directly into the stand blender. Okay, so for the base, obviously, we mentioned silken tofu. You can find this in most grocery stores. It should be available. It's that soft tofu. We've used this in the past. I mean, we've thrown it in smoothies. We've thrown it in soups. Again, it's that really nice sort of soft, custardy body here. I know it's a little hard to see, but that gives you this wonderful creamy texture. So I'm going to throw that into our jar. I'm going to throw in the whole pack. And again, we'll add the measurements. This package was probably probably 3/4 of a cup, maybe a full cup. Let's see. Yeah, it's 300 grams. So about 3/4 of a cup. And you can sort of season to taste. So if you want to make a bigger batch, you can obviously definitely do a bigger batch. So the silken tofu goes in, and then it's really about flavor. So when we're talking about flavor, we can definitely lean on some of our favorite spices, some of our favorite herbs, playing around with the savory, maybe a little bit of salty, maybe a little bit of sweet, to really get a nice balance and to really amplify that flavor. And so what we're gonna do first, for a little bit of that savory, we're gonna add, I know it's a little hard to see, a little garlic powder, a little onion powder. We're not going for the fresh garlic or onion, but we're actually going for the powder. It's gonna be a little more intense in flavor. And this is no salt added. So it's not garlic salt or onion salt, it's just the powder. And I'm going for like 2 teaspoons each of that in here. And we're going to use this. We've used it a few times, in our recipes. You may have heard of it before. This is nutritional yeast. So nutritional yeast is sort of a non-active yeast, usually a byproduct of brewing beer. Usually, it's like a brewer's yeast. It has this just incredible nutty, cheesy, slightly umami, savory flavor. Works really, really well in soups, but I think it works fantastic in these dips, especially if you're playing off that ranch sort of flavor. It's really, really great. I'm going to go ahead and add a good tablespoon-ish. So this is a heavy tablespoon because I like it. Again, this is something you can definitely find in like health food stores. I've seen it in most grocery stores as well now. They're starting to carry this a lot more. And it's a great pantry item that you can keep on hand, and you can throw in some of like your soups, your sauces, your salad dressings. It doesn't have to be cooked, so you can use it in either raw or cooked preparations, depending on what you're making. So it works exceptionally well in a dip like this. And then for that balance, so again, we're going with that savory. We want to go with a little bit of sweet to balance it out. I'm adding just a little bit of honey, so just put a teaspoon of honey to this. Not a lot, but a little goes a long way. Again, it's sort of giving you a more balanced flavor profile. Make sure you see that. And then went with the dried spices. We're going to go with a little bit of fresh, and you can definitely use dried in this case too. We're going to use just a little bit of dill. You don't need too much. Maybe about a 1/4 cup or so. We're going to blend this up really well. But if you want to use some basil, or it doesn't even have to be fresh, you can use dried oregano, dried basil, dried dill. You can definitely do that as well. So tear off a little bit. Put that in there. And dill again. These herbs that have a big punch of flavor are really going to help. Because I mean, the silken tofu itself is not very flavorful. It's sort of very neutral in flavor. So we want to add where we can. And then we're going to blend. So let me see if I can angle you down a little bit closer. Again, if you're using a stand blender, you would just turn it on as normal. I'm using a hand blender, so I'm going to go ahead and just push this down while it's on. Make sure that I blend and incorporate everything together.
From here, it looks like a creamy milkshake.
Now, if you want it a little thinner, you can add a little bit of water. I like it on the thick side. I think it works really nice as a dip that way. And then you can sort of season to taste. So if you want a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, definitely go ahead and add that. This is really fun, by the way, to do it this way. So if you don't have a hand blender, Get yourself one. There we go. The dill is nice incorporated now. Again, if you want it a little thicker or thinner, you can definitely add a touch of water, but I think it works really, really well. This really, really nice. Again, it smells like a nice ranch dip, but it has that thicker consistency. Really nice and creamy, and the dill is really, really punching through here. Fancy, fancy garnish, little dill on top. And there we have, that's the dip, really nice and creamy. We have just some pita, and like Daniela mentioned, you can serve this even with some like soda crackers or something like that. But I also had to plate it on these amazing, gorgeous dishes that Daniela donated to our kitchen. So thank you again, Daniela. Look at that, really, really nice silken tofu herb dip.